Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an episode of Sporting Perspective. Can you believe we are in week three of the NFL season? Can't believe we are already there. And we're starting to see who's good, who's bad, and who's average. I guess that's the best way of putting it. But before we jump into week three, I know you have some things you want to talk about from week two, James. Yeah, let's just jump right on into it.
Yeah, some of these things aren't quite a trend yet. I feel like you normally want to wait at least till week four, week five, and then by that point you can be like, all right, that's who this team is. It's hard not to overreact to some things though. But I will say that I'm going to be calling this week two quarterback injury week. We saw Joe Burrow go down with a turf toe. He's out for 3 months. Jaden Daniels injured his knee, I guess. And as of this recording, I don't know if we know if he's going to be playing this week. He's hopeful. We saw Justin Fields get concussed. It was actually, surprisingly, for the type of quarterback he is, his first ever concussion and head injury, which I thought was interesting. And we had JJ McCarthy apparently come out of Sunday night game with an injury as well. We kind of heard that news on Monday though, and it was kind of out of left field. I didn't know he hurt his ankle, but he will be out, and Carson Wentz will be taken over for him. So, not good for real life. Not good if you're a fan of those teams. Not good if any of those guys are your fantasy quarterbacks. But a lot of backup quarterbacks will be playing, which might be a hint at what we're going to be doing later on in the show. We did see on Thursday we saw Green Bay take down Washington, and amid the billion receivers they seem to have, it's like every pass that Jordan Love throws is a different guy catching the ball. There's one guy that stands out, and it's not even a wide receiver. It's Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft, he's by far their wide receiver one. The Jags should feel terrible. They never should have lost that game. That was against the Bengals. Burrow was hurt. Browning came in and played okay, but obviously 3 interceptions doesn't help, and the Jaguars just were not able to capitalize off that at all. And I can't believe they lost that game, to be honest. We talked last week about the Bills and the Ravens being the game of the year already, and we might have another game that goes right up against that, and it's Giants-Cowboys. What do you think? Is that better than Bills-Ravens, or are you still giving Bills-Ravens the nod for game of the
I think
year?
I think Bills Ravens was better. It was still a good game, but Bills Ravens I think was better. So
I think the Lions are back, but the Bears are also the Bears. Regardless, you're an NFL team and you gave up 50 plus points. I want to see how the Lions do this week. But I think the Lions they're going to be okay. Speaking of teams that are not okay, the Dolphins. They have a ton of problems, and I would think McDaniels has to be on the hot seat pretty soon because not to give away our picks, but I could probably safely say we're both going to pick the Bills to
yeah,
beat the Dolphins tonight and Thursday night. Uh, yeah, if Miami loses, maybe Kansas City should be calling up Tyreek Hill to bring him back. With that game, I also thought it was kind of funny. Tua overthrew Tyreek, and Tyreek looked like he was ready to just break down and throw a hissy fit. I thought he was going to pull an AB and just take his helmet off and leave the stadium. Because Tua has not looked great either. We saw the Bills dismantle the Jets. There's 2 quarterback injuries in that game. Obviously, the Justin Fields one I already mentioned, but Josh Allen, they never really said what happened. He took like a knee to the face, and his nose was just gushing blood. I think he broke his nose, but if not broken, I mean, it was banged up. So we're gonna get to see visor Josh Allen this coming week, which will be interesting. We saw the Seahawks stifle the Steelers with a return touchdown, and just a really good, that Legion of Boom. I don't know if you can call them that anymore, but their defense was super stout. The Ravens are by far the best 1-1 team. They have, I think, the best offense in all of the league right now. The Colts got bailed out with a leveraging flag, which then led to a second attempt at a field goal, which walked them off. Also, Danny Dimes, aka Indiana Jones, is playing out of his mind. So this is kind of his redemption tour. Uh,
Yeah.
Everyone wrote him off when he left the Giants, but he has something to say about that. We saw the Cardinals, in typical Cardinals fashion, try to lose that game to the Panthers. The big thing I took away from that game, Tedero McMillan is the real deal, and he is an alpha wide receiver one. I mean, that dude he's already, maybe not elite, but with what I saw, he's on his way to being elite. We had the Super Bowl rematch, and that did not disappoint between the Eagles and the Chiefs. And the outcome was exactly the same. Eagles won. Chiefs are 0-2, which is insane. And it's not Patrick Mahomes' fault. He has nothing right now on offense to throw the ball to. I mean, Kelsey's dropping passes. His top two receivers are out in Worthy and Rice. And there's zero run game. Pacheco looks absolutely awful. So that's an interesting thing to monitor. We saw a dominant run game and defense lead the Falcons to victory in what was being dubbed like the field goal fest up until there was a touchdown at the end. And then we had the two Monday night games. Baker's a dog. That dude, he's totally revamped his career. I mean, he went from practice squad with the Panthers to now top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league. I mean, I don't know. He's definitely if you want a quarterback right now on your team, he's a name that should be thrown out there because he's a winner. And then we saw the Chargers and the Raiders, and honestly, the Chargers are the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Geno Smith was absolutely terrible. The guy just could not complete a pass over like 15 yards. Jim Harbaugh has that team playing very, very well. So, they're my NFL Week 2 observations.
Yeah. Just want to add on one thing. You were talking about Baker. Baker, at this point, over the last, I think, 3 years now, I guess 2 years and 2 games. If you take that time span, he's leading the NFL, or at least the top 5, in almost every competitive quarterback stat. So, it just goes back to show you, and a lot of the radio shows I was listening to this morning, it just goes back to how dumb is the Cleveland Browns organization. It's just unbelievable that you literally listen to OBJ's dad, and that's what shipped Baker off to Carolina, where no one's been successful. And then it's crazy to think, and this really just shows you how small of a margin of error or success, that window is so small in the NFL. The only reason Baker got a second shot was because, remember, he had 24 hours to learn a complicated Rams playbook and looked fantastic in that one. And it wasn't even the whole game. He looked fantastic for a quarter. And literally that gave him the opportunity. And it feels like such a long time ago that he got a 1-year show me deal from the Bucks, which he had to beat out Kyle Trask for the job.
Yeah.
It's wild to think.
Yeah, people were saying Kyle Trask was like the heir apparent to Tom Brady, which is a little
that
strange. You
never
look
happened.
back now and it's like that wasn't going to happen. But
yeah, it's just funny to think how small the margin is in the NFL from completely being out of the league to being a top 5 guy.
Oh, 100%. There was a 4th down play at the end of the game when they were driving to score that touchdown. It was like 4th and whatever. Say 12 or I don't know, 10, 8. Yep. I don't know what it was. And it just epitomized Baker as he ran for the first down. And then he's not a sliding quarterback. He and he's not a big dude either. He just lowers his shoulder and he's like, "Come at me," and
Yeah.
he takes some shots, and he's got a lot of got a lot of grit.
And then one more thing before we jump into week three really quick, because they both played that Monday night game or in their own games, but I want to give praise to two 30-year-old wide receivers that are just continuously balling out. Will be Hall of Famers in Mike Evans and Keenan Allen. These guys are just at the ages that they are. I mean, Keenan Allen 33, Evans has got to be either
He's
32,
32.
33. Yeah, so I mean, these guys are still big parts of these teams that are more than likely going to make playoff runs, could have Super Bowl aspirations.
Yeah, they're
So,
both big dudes, and their motor just does not end.
yeah, it's wild that these two guys are still clicking. So, but let's jump into week three. We're actually going to probably have a couple cupcakes here to begin. But with our Thursday night game, craziest spread of the weekend, Miami heads to Buffalo. This could be bad.
Yeah, Buffalo's not losing this game. Bills are winning this at home.
Yeah, Bills are going to win this one. I think the bigger question is who, not who wins the game, is will Mike McDaniels have a job? Because if there's a time to fire someone, it could be with a 10-day break coming up. If they get blown out, it could happen because even at the press conference that he had after, I don't know if you saw his his post game press conference after Sunday was horrific. So
Yeah, I did see he came out and said something like, "I don't worry about my job security because if I'm worrying about that, I'm not doing my job as a head coach," which I agree with that. That's fine. Don't worry about it. But also, maybe have a little wherewithal to like kind of worry about it because you're not going to make your team any better, then you're probably
well,
not going to have a job.
the wildest one was almost like a 2000s PlayStation game that was
Oh, the
like a
winning.
default. Yeah, the winning quote's just like, well, that was weird. It's like a malfunction almost. But yeah, Buffalo I think wins this one. Question is by how much. Let's move to Sunday's game. Probably the least competitive game we're going to start with. Green Bay heading to Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland just isn't a winning culture, and a lot of the NFL. I mean, the players are all, for the most part, equal in and of their own right. Obviously, you have like the freaks like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, those type of guys who like, yeah, they're better. But like everyone in the NFL is really good, and if you don't have a winning culture and you don't know what it takes to win, you're not gonna win. Packers are winning. Cleveland just doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know how to win. So I'm taking the Packers and their revamped defense behind
Yep.
Micah Parsons on the road.
Yeah, if I was ranking teams 1 to 32, Green Bay would probably be having that one spot after 2 weeks. Therefore, I'm going to take Green Bay, especially since Cleveland is probably in that bottom five. Green Bay wins this one. Um, Indianapolis heading to Tennessee. Cam Ward had a crazy first touchdown throw. Uh, Indianapolis, as you mentioned, first 10 drives of the season they scored. Danny Dimes is looking really, really good. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts. I think their running attack is really what it's all about. Jonathan Taylor's running the ball well. Daniel Jones is running the ball well. Their defense is not terrible. So it's always tough to bet on a rookie quarterback. So I'm taking the Colts even though they're on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Colts too. Not much to add there. Cincinnati heading to Minnesota. Battle of the backup quarterbacks here.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Browning versus Wentz. I'm taking the Vikings for two reasons. They're at home and they have the better defense.
Yeah, not much to add. I'm also going to take Minnesota. I like Wentz. When Wentz is on, he is very, very good. The problem is when Wentz is bad, he's really, really bad. Um, yeah, I'll take Minnesota. I think the crowd will help. Um, and JJ McCarthy was really running I hate to say it, really hadn't looked good outside of one quarter so far. So I think the fall off isn't going to be as bad or as drastic as we all think. Pittsburgh at New England.
I'm taking the Patriots. I think Ramondre Stevenson kind of reestablished himself as, I'm the guy. Hold on, Travion Henderson, not yet. And I think Drake May is a little underrated. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks from last year's class behind Jaden Daniels. And I don't know if we don't. I mean, we saw what the Steelers can do in Week 1, but their defense is something that I really thought that they would be, proud of and having played a little better. Their defense doesn't look that great, and at the end of the day, they do have a 42-year-old quarterback, and he can't throw 4 touchdowns every week. So their run game also looks okay in Jalen Warren, but again, he's 5'8", so how much beating can he really take before he just wears down? But yeah, I'm going Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots too because I'm beginning to believe the Pittsburgh that we saw in Week 1 was due to more of the Jets are terrible. So I'm going to take New England. They look good against Miami. Um, and playing in New England, even against a bad New England team, is a tough place to play. So give me New England. Um, Moving on to the next one now, we're kind of elevating our game here. Rematch of a playoff game last year, Rams heading to Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm taking Philly. It's at home, and like I had mentioned before about winning culture, losing culture. Not that the Rams don't have a winning culture, but the Eagles are literally coming off a Super Bowl, and if it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you're getting the tush push, and you're probably getting the first down. So I'm taking the Eagles behind Jalen Hurts and Saquon, just running on that Rams stout defense. But it's two dudes who are probably two of the best runners in the NFL. So I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles too. I think this is going to be a really good game and honestly could go either way. Rams defense has looked really good so far this season. Granted, it's been against two offenses that Houston just not looking great on the offensive side of the ball, and Titans' new quarterback, obviously. So this is going to be their really first test of the season to see where they're really at. Philly really hasn't had to do anything too complicated with their offense up to this point. So this might be one of those times where they might have to start throwing the ball because they've really gone away. They've really gotten away with two games by just running it and doing the tush push. So I think Philly wins, and I think they're going to have Jalen Hurts throw the ball. A.J. Brown, I think, has only caught 5 passes for 35 yards the whole season. Got to get him involved. Devontae Smith, kind of the same deal. Philly's always a tough place to play. I'm going to edge out Philly. This is the Rams' really first tough opponent, I would say. I don't think Houston is at that level of Kansas City and even Dallas being a in division rivalry game. I'll take Philly. Another one that I think should be an easy one here. Tyrod Taylor going to be starting for the Jets more than likely. Going into Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, even if Justin Fields was playing, I'd still take the Bucks. I just think they're a complete team. They got Baker. They got 2 really good receivers in Evans and Ibuka. They now have a 1-2 punch of Irving and Rashad White, which looks pretty formidable. And their defense looked good. I don't know if that was their defense really playing good or the Texans' offense kind of sputtering. But either way, the Bucks are at home. Baker's going to do anything he can to win. So, taking the Bucks.
Cool. I also have Tampa Bay. Not much to add there. It's their home opener. So I think they're going to come in scoring quite a few points against this pretty poor Jets defense. Raiders on a short week, heading to the nation's capital, taking on the Commanders. As you mentioned earlier, Jaden Daniels questionable at this point. Marcus Mariota might be the starter. Who do you got?
Yeah, the key is what you said right at the beginning. Short week for the Raiders, and they have to travel across the country. That never bodes well. I think regardless if it's Jaden Daniels or Mariota, which at this exact second we don't know yet, I don't think it matters. Maybe we'll see our boy Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt have a little bit better of a game and run the ball a little more against this Raiders defense. But I think at home like I said, Mariota or Daniels doesn't matter. Commanders, I think will win this game.
I got the same thing, not much to add. Vegas needs to learn to give Genty the ball more. There's a reason why they drafted him so early. They got to give him the ball more. Geno should not be throwing the ball 40 times in a game. It's not a good recipe. Atlanta heading to Carolina.
I'm taking the Falcons. Divisional games are always close, so I don't think the Falcons win by a ton. Not to mention they're on the road, but their defense impressed me, and their run game impressed me. They ran all over the Vikings. Bijan is a freak. Tyler Algier can come in and spell him for a little bit, and he's kind of more, thunder to Bijan being lightning. Yeah, Penix I think is manageable. I mean, it's only going to be like his sixth start, so it's not like he's played a full season quite yet. So yeah, I'm taking the Falcons. Panthers just haven't shown me enough. I mean, they did try to mount a comeback against the Cardinals and almost did it. But there's a reason that Panthers franchise is just not in the best of sorts right now. So I'm taking the Falcons on the road.
Not much to add there. I'm also taking Atlanta. Houston heading to Jacksonville.
Yeah, this is a battle of two teams, in my opinion, that have really good rosters and two good theoretical quarterbacks who just haven't been able to live up to the hype. Lawrence was a number one pick, and he still has the jury out for him. Stroud won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he's actually regressed, it seems like, since his rookie year. I'm taking Jacksonville at home just because I think ETN has established himself back to being like the guy. And actually, Tootin looked pretty good as a backup, especially after that trade they made of Tank Bigsby to the Eagles. So Tootin is now the backup there. Yeah, I'm just taking the Jaguars. I think they try to establish Brian Thomas and Hunter a little more too, because Hunter's not been quite living up to the hype, and Thomas has really had a bad start to his sophomore year.
So I'm also going to take Jacksonville as well. It's just hard to take a Houston team that is really struggling to score. As simple as that. That's why I'm taking Jacksonville. Denver heading to LA to take on the Chargers.
I'm literally just taking the Chargers because they're at home. I think the Broncos have a really, really good defense. Defenses, I think, always play a little better at home because you got the crowd helping out, and you're guaranteed to get that noise to help with a couple false starts here and there. But the Chargers have impressed me, and Justin Herbert looks really good. So I'm taking the Chargers.
I'm also taking the Chargers. Herbert's looked really good. That team is really looking like a Jim Harbaugh team at this point, and that's tough to beat. Denver, I still feel like very good, but still kind of wrinkling out some things. They're kind of where the Chargers were about a season ago. So I'm gonna take the Chargers. Broncos are getting there. They're just not there yet. New Orleans, who might be the worst team in football, heading to Seattle. This doesn't look like a good situation for New Orleans.
Nope. They're called the 12th man for a reason. I think they'll help out that Seahawks defense. Darnold has actually been all right, and then the 1-2 punch of Walker and Charbonnet is also really good. So, yeah, like you said, the Saints are really bad. So I'm taking the Seahawks.
Also taking the Seahawks. Not much to add. They look good against Pittsburgh, and the Niners, I think, are really good. So that was not as bad of a loss as it looks today, or as bad as it looked when it happened. Intriguing matchup here. Dallas taking on the Bears. Bears still winless.
Yeah, this is a battle of like the crapshoot franchises right now. Just two teams that you think should be better than they really are. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's the teams are cursed. You got America's team versus, Caleb Williams, who has all the talent in the world, but just can't seem to win. I'm taking the Cowboys on the road. No real reason, just because Dak's a little more seasoned, and he's got CeeDee Lamb. And, yeah, Javonte Williams is also running the ball really well.
Yeah.
Bears
I might
defense.
have I may have a lot to say after this game, but before this game, my prediction is straight Dallas. I want to see how this game plays out. but there could be a lot of storylines that come out of this one, in my opinion. Divisional game, Arizona going to San Francisco. Both the teams 2-0. Who do you got?
I'm taking the Cardinals. I think if they can actually put together 4 quarters of like football that you see in the first half of these last 2 games against the Saints and the Panthers, they could be one of the better teams in the league. Now, with that being said, obviously you have to put it together for 4 quarters, but they've seen what they need to do to win. I personally think they have the better team, minus McCaffrey being on the other side. Um, and honestly, I'm just going to take the Cardinals because I don't think Mac Jones is going to do it again. If Purdy was in there, it might be a different story, but it is Mac Jones, so I'm taking the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm taking Arizona as well for one reason and one reason alone. They're more healthy. San Francisco is just so banged up, and I don't know what's happened to them since they went to the Super Bowl a few years back. But ever since that Super Bowl, it seems like they can just never stay healthy. But yeah, they've got injuries everywhere, and kind of seconding what you said. Oh, Mac Jones doing it 2 weeks in a row is hard to see. I can see it for a week, but then once teams start getting tape on you, these things get a lot harder. So I'll take Arizona. Really, their first test this season because New Orleans and Carolina is a real easy way to start the season.
Yeah.
Um, Sunday Night Football, battle of the 0-2s. Never would have thought this would happen, but Kansas City going on to take on the New York Giants.
I mean, I have to go Chiefs, right? Like, Mahomes going 0-3 would be an insane storyline. I mean, it very well could happen with how we saw the Giants playing against Dallas, but yeah, the Giants are not a winning franchise right now, and I don't think they will be with Russell Wilson at quarterback. The Chiefs are in a weird situation because they haven't been in this situation recently, probably ever. Honestly, they've really never been in this situation under Patrick Mahomes. I think it was his first time
Yep.
ever losing 3 in a row if you go back to the Super Bowl. Um, so he's going to do everything in his power to win this game, and I think Andy Reid will have something drawn up to try to make sure that they come out with a victory. So I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, Kansas City, in my opinion, will win this one. If they don't, the alarm bells will start going off. I think these last 2 games for Kansas City, the Brazil game versus the Chargers, hard game, Philly game, hard. This is the first one that would be inexcusable. So I'll take Kansas City. Monday night is a doozy. Detroit heading to Baltimore. I expect a lot of offense in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens just because they very easily could have won that collapse of a game in Buffalo and been 2-0. But everything they've shown me has been that they're the best offense in football in just back to back weeks, and I think that continues. Um, yeah, I think Derrick Henry has to reestablish himself too. He had a really poor game for his standards,
Yeah,
really bad.
yeah.
So I'm taking the Ravens at home.
I'm taking the Ravens as well. It's pretty impressive, regardless of record, to have back-to-back games to start the season of 40 points. So we'll see if that continues. Yeah, I'm going to take the Ravens. I think it helps that it's in Baltimore. If this game was in Detroit, I might be saying a different story, but I'm going to take Baltimore, and expect a lot of scoring between these two teams who combined for 92 points last week. So, well, we got a fun one. We want to start the top five?
Let's do it.
All right, so because there's so many backup quarterbacks starting this week, we figured to go through the rosters and put together our top five best backup quarterbacks in the NFL at this point. This one took a little research for both of us, but I like my list. Do you want to start with your number five? I think we're going to have a lot of different things here.
Yeah, I think we will too. Yeah. So my number 5 is Jacoby Brissett.
Okay.
I think he's just the consummate backup everywhere I mean, he's been on like all 32 teams. It feels like. I mean, he goes in there and he literally can adapt to any playbook, any style of play. He's just like one of the greatest backups I feel like in probably the history of the NFL because seems to always then get an opportunity, and he's not a bad guy to have. So, yeah, I got Brissett. I think he's just one of those guys where it's like, oh crap, your starting quarterback's out, and you're like, typically your backup comes in, and you're like, well, we're gonna lose, but Brissett at least gives you a chance to win. So I'm going
Yeah.
Brissett.
So my number five is someone we may see this weekend. It's Marcus Mariota, and the reason is because he's plugged in throughout his career between Philly, between Vegas, Atlanta. He's done it before. He's done it in a lot of different places. He's also very difficult to prepare for, like on a short week, because he can run, he can throw. Um, Very athletic guy, and it seems to throw defenses off when he has to be the guy. It's not someone you want to be your starter at this point, but he's a tough changeup. So, who do you got at number four?
At number four, I'm going pure potential, and probably something Giants fans are going to want to have sooner rather than later, and that's Jackson Dart. He showed what he can do in the preseason. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. It's probably not going to be too much longer before we see him, but on straight potential and where he was drafted in the first round, it's a little surprising that he just didn't start the season as the starter. But I'm literally just going pure potential. Jackson Dart as number four.
So, my number four, I was shocked this guy was still in the league. I didn't know he was still in the league until I opened up the roster. And it's Teddy Bridgewater, someone that's played a lot of different places. He's a pro, great person to have on the roster. He's in Tampa Bay right now, and if God forbid Baker Mayfield goes down for a game or two, Teddy Bridgewater will ride the water out, and you will feel like we have a chance of winning this game because he's a good pro. He can make the throws, and everyone in the locker room in the huddle respects the dude already. So there's no question mark there. Who do you got at three?
Number three, I'm going with another potential guy because he's young, but someone that we've seen win and someone that can run the offense actually not too bad, and that's Malik Willis. He was cast off out of Tennessee, went to Green Bay, and last year Jordan Love went down, and Malik Willis didn't skip a beat with that offense and led them to two victories. So yeah, he's still young, and I think the sky is still the limit if any other opportunity were to arise, or maybe he just sticks around as a backup for the rest of his career. But I'm taking Malik Willis at three.
So my number three, I think this guy could still be starting. Kind of has that same thing as Teddy Bridgewater, but a little bit more proven of track record, and that's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins probably could still have a starting job in this league, and will probably get a start somewhere at this point. He's in Atlanta. Obviously, the reason he's benched is behind Michael Penix. Is it's Michael Penix time. So Kirk Cousins may get a start. He may get traded. I wouldn't be surprised at some point this season with all the injuries that are happening because he's still someone that can lead to the playoffs. Very good quarterback. I don't have much to add there. There's two.
So my number two is Anthony Richardson. Again, I think the sky is the limit for him if he were is to ever figure it out. Um, I do think a change of scenery is needed, though. I don't think that he should stay in Indy. I think he needs to move on somewhere else. Um, Personally, I don't think he's going to turn into like a superstar like he got drafted and people thought he might be. But there were bits and pieces of what we saw at Florida that, maybe someone can take a hold of him and actually get the best out of him. Uh, that maybe that's a Kevin O'Connell. Maybe he goes to LA to back up Stafford and be the guy after him. I mean, there's opportunities for him to go elsewhere because Daniel Jones isn't old by any means. He's still relatively young, and that I know it's only been two games, but with what Daniel Jones has shown, is like, well, he's probably going to stay the starter. So Anthony Richardson does have a lot of starts under his belt too, so that also is helpful. Yeah, so I'm going Richardson.
So my number two had some spot starts last year in Cleveland, and purely off of his personality and the energy that he brings to a locker room, I feel like this is a great guy to have around. Always has a smile on his face. Jameis Winston. Someone that I don't think he's a starter anymore, but just having him as a pure morale guy, a spot starter situation. He can win you a game or two. He can make all the throws. Um, but I think he's also extremely liked in the locker room, which says a lot. And he knows his backup role at this point. He knows he's there to help out and spot start where needed. He's buried in the Giants organization right now, but Jameis Winston would be my number two.
Yeah, he's come a long way from the crab legs incident.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you already mentioned this guy, but this guy is my number one, and it's Kirk Cousins. I just think that he literally has seen every situation. He's been in every play. He was a starter for basically his entire career because, Robert Griffin was hurt all the time, so Kirk Cousins got thrust into a starting role pretty quickly and sooner rather than later than I think Washington probably wanted, hence why they drafted RG3 ahead of him. But yeah, I don't think there's. I mean, when it comes to just like game management and then also the ability to just like build your or make your offense better. Um, I don't think we have anyone better in the league than Kirk Cousins right now. The only other one would maybe be Joe Flacco, and he's starting for Cleveland. Just a guy who seems to always have a job year after year after year. It's like Joe Flacco's like a cockroach. And I think Kirk Cousins is kind of going down that Joe Flacco route. I don't know if he's going to play till he's 42. He's pretty family oriented. I know he's got a wife and a couple kids thanks to that Netflix show that I've watched. But, if Penix, like you said about Baker, if Penix is, God forbid, to go down, at least it's an offense he's been in for a year and he, you know, probably has the most pedigree out of any backup right now in all of football.
So my number one's pretty funny because I looked at it as in an extreme situation. Is there a quarterback here that's a backup that would, in a bizarro situation, have to throw the ball like 50 times? Who would be the dude? And there is a dude that is just a straight gunslinger, and that is Garner Minshew. And that would be my number one. And he's the backup in Kansas City, and we saw him just sling the ball around like crazy, not only in college, but in Jacksonville. May he turn the ball over 4 times? Yeah, but he also may throw you 4 touchdowns. So he's going to just sling the ball around, and it's going to be fun to watch while doing it.
Best mustache in football. If he still has it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one of those things of if he's still the same guy, which I'm guessing he probably is, um, he can sling the ball around. When let loose, he's going to let it go. So he'd be my number one. So not a lot of overlap there. The one guy that I actually thought you were going to put and was on my fringe was Josh Dobbs.
Mm. Yeah,
He's in New England.
Is he the back? Technically, he's the backup. He's not third string, so he's backing up Drake May.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, I thought about him, and there was a lot of. I mean, honestly, Jimmy Garoppolo's out there.
he was another one that I was looking at.
Yeah, honestly, I was looking. I was like, there's actually some decent backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's a
Jake
list.
Browning.
It's not bad. So the one that I cringed at, though, I have to say, was I couldn't believe that Trey Lance is actually the backup quarterback for the Chargers.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I was like, oh my God, that's horrible if that
yeah.
happens.
Herbert better not get hurt.
Yeah, that was the one I cringed at. I was like, oh no, that's not good. So I figure if he gets hurt, one of these guys is coming in. So,
Oh yeah.
but all right, well, I don't think I got anything else to go over. Do you have anything you want to jump in?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, enjoy a wonderful week of college and NFL football starting tonight. Got this potential blowout in the making. Until next week, guys, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.